All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to our quarterly execution review for November. We're going to talk about the SPLOST projects, and not only we're really all the SPLOST projects. So at the end, we'll talk a little bit about what was left over from 16. Chairman, anything that you want to kick us off with?
No.
Right, Commissioner?
I'm good, thank you very much.
All right, catch up.
No. Well, I think Jason, you are ready to go. So let's hit it.
All right, sounds good. Mike, we're going to get our presentation up. All right. Good morning. Thank you all for being here. It's Glenn County's SPLOST Quarterly Execution Review. It's Tuesday, November 18th, and we're meeting here in room 224 of the Harold Pate Building. For those of you joining us in person and those turning in online, welcome. These quarterly reviews remain one of the most important ways we hold ourselves accountable to the public and to each other. All right. Today's agenda, we are going to go over the purpose and the history of the quarterly execution review. We're going to explain why transparency and public access is important. We'll explain our collection progress. We'll go through the departments that are presenting. We'll give an update on the status of SPLOST 2022 projects. And then we'll also give an update on all projects since our last QER back in May. We've got a few educational points. One, how we measure progress through the milestones. And we'll also explain funding buckets. And then we'll also go through the engineering service pool and how that's made us more efficient as an organization. We've got our acknowledgments, and then we'll do our department presentations. Michael. All right. Purpose of the QER, this is a quarterly execution review that began here in Glenn County only a few years ago, but rooted in well-proven performance model used at the Federal Law Enforcement Training Center. The intent is simple. Make sure we are executing the projects our citizens approved through the SPLOST 2022 referendum. Each quarter we take time to assess progress, identify challenges early, and confirm we are delivering exactly what the Board of Commissioners and our community expect from us. All right. Transparency and public access. Transparency remains a core principle of this review. Every project you see here today has a corresponding page on our public SPLOST page where citizens can view real-time status updates, budgets, schedules, and progress. Behind the scenes, our teams update this data continuously, ensuring the public view mirrors the internal view. That alignment is intentional. It's how we build trust. All right. The SPLOST 2022 referendum, what the voters approved. 133 million total. 78% of that would go to Glenn County, and then we would distribute that to partner agencies. 22% would go to the city of Brunswick. It's a 6-year collection cycle. As of today, we've got collectively $92 million. The current monthly collection average is $2.98 million per month.
Jason, just let me make a comment on that. So just going back to that, so Tier 1, Tier 2, just for everybody to understand. So Tier 1, when we were putting the referendum together, we anticipated the collections to be between $1.8 million a month and $2.4 million a month. And we've talked about this several times. And so that's where we get the range. So the $1.8 million a month over 6 years is that $133 million. And then the 2.4 gets us up to that $170 million. The one thing I want to comment on this slide, though, it's so in Tier 1, the city, there were projects that were identified. So there was money went to the airport, money went to Jekyll Island, money went to the EDA and Joint Water Sewer. So the county in Tier 1 did not receive 78% of that 133. If you do the math, it was about 58, 59%. So I just want to make sure that that's clear, because there was other projects for other organizations that were included in that Tier 1 list.
Yes, sir.
So, yes, in Tier 2, that split is correct.
All right. So, thank you for that, Mr. Fallon. So what today covers active SPLOST projects, both current and legacy, as well as a few of our larger capital projects we've been working hard to accomplish. You'll hear from information technology on our countywide fiber expansion. You'll hear from EMA and fire regarding the public safety multi-use facility, Chapel Crossing Fire Station, the airport fire station, and the public safety fleet. You'll hear from Public Works on drainage and infrastructure projects from Emmanuel Church Road to Mallory Street and Old Jessup Box Culvert. From Recreation and Parks, you'll hear about Ballard Park, Selden Park, and sidewalk connections at North Glen. Engineering, you'll hear about roadway, sidewalk projects, including the SSI Gateway, Demery, Canal Glencoe Parkway, and resurfacing and shoreline protection. And then you'll hear from our capital projects team on juvenile justice, the Juvenile Justice Center, the Coast Guard Beach Renovation Project, and the ongoing College Park Project. We'll touch briefly on the SPLOST 2016 items at the conclusion. And so for right now, here's our snapshot. SPLOST 2022, we've got 38 projects. 14 of those projects have been completed. 21 are active, and what active means is either in design or construction. And then we've got 3 that have not started yet. So 14 completed, 21 active or in design or construction, and then 3 not started.
Can you go back to that for a second? Okay, so again, just as we have talked about this in previous messaging and then QERs and everything, we don't get a blank check to start with. So we collect money over the course of those 6 years. So the reason a lot of these projects haven't started yet is because we just are continuing to collect. And then there's also a staff component as well. A lot of these projects are big projects that require a lot of engineering, and so for us, it's a matter of staggering these projects, not only to be able to afford them based on the revenue that we collect, but also to be able to work it with the existing staff that we have. So just want to make that point, Jason. Thank you.
Yes, sir. All right. And so here's our progress since the May 2025 QER. You'll notice that since May, we've completed 7 more projects, and we've got, at the bottom there, 7 more that we've just started. And so we continue, as projects roll off, we're continuing to bring them on. There's no stopping, and we will continue this pattern until every single one of our SPLOST projects is completed.
All right, Jason, we just leave this up for a second.
It's a busy slide. I apologize, but there was a lot of information.
No, it's a good one. And it shows the, I think that, commissioners, I think you're aware in previous years there really wasn't a lot of transparency on the SPLOST projects and where we were, and funding aspects to it, and where we were as far as the design and the construction. But I think this is a good slide that actually shows exactly where we are on the projects that we have.
Jason, could you address the colors?
So the colors just are representative of the change. And so if you had 0 change, like for example, Emmanuel Church drainage was at 24.5% back in May. It's still at 24.5%. We'll get into that when we do our presentation of the project on why that is. But because there was no change, you've got a red 0% change.
So it's 0 or minimal, right? So there's a couple that are 3, 4, 5%.
Right. The darker the red, 0. As we get to the green, you'll see those, as we get higher in percentage completed, the numbers turn green.
Okay, so it's sort of like a temperature chart.
Yes,
We
sir.
haven't started it, it's red, and then it moves up to green.
Right, it has moved, it's red.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good. Great. Thanks, Jason.
Yep. All right. And now, as we move through today's presentations, you'll hear terms like on track, at risk, off track, and achieved. None of these labels are punitive. They're simply signals and prompts for collaboration and early problem solving. That's the process. That's the purpose of this process: open communication and shared accountability. And so, what you see here to the right is what each of our staff members see when they are completing their project updates. They have to put the project is not started, on track, off track, at risk, and that then lets the organization know where we need to focus our efforts to get something moving. The semicircle, you'll see the semicircle gauge, and that's the project completion percentage. And to clarify what those numbers represent, each stage of the project carries a fixed weight, a milestone. So issuing the RFP is 2.5%. Completing the design is 20%. Land acquisition, permitting, right-of-way, that's 2.5%. Issuing the construction bid, 2.5%. Construction, that's the very heavy-weighted item, that's 70%. And then the closeout. Closeout documentation is important, 2.5%. It's not until all of these are done that you have a project at 100% and we say it's completed. If we still owe money to a contractor, if there's something outstanding, closing documents, if it hasn't been completed, well, that project's not completed.
All right, so this is a little bit different. So I like the way that you guys have attacked this, and this goes back to that previous slide on the percentages, right? And so, all right, yeah, this is there ever any cases where this path doesn't work? I mean, is it pretty much the same for every project, right?
We have the same path for every single project, so the template is used. We always know where we are with the project when we do it that way.
I like it. Good.
All right. Understanding the SPLOST funding buckets. I want to explain something to the public that the public often sees on our SPLOST website. Tamara Munson, our CFO, refers to these as the funding buckets. SPLOST has several large countywide allocations for drainage, sidewalk, and road improvement projects. These are not individual projects, they're pooled funding categories that support dozens of smaller efforts across the county. For example, SPLOST 2022 allocated $3.178 million for drainage improvements countywide. As individual drainage projects are designed and contracted, funding is moved out of the drainage bucket and then assigned to the specific project. So when a project page shows no original budget, it's because it draws from the larger bucket. No original budget, it's because it draws from the original bucket. You always see full allocation on a category page and specific budget once the project contract is issued. This structure gives us flexibility, lets us respond to priority needs quickly, and provides citizens with a full picture of how drainage, sidewalk, and resurfacing dollars are deployed.
All right, I think that's another good point to make, that in the referendum, we have certain projects that we identified that we did. And then there are going to be some, when it comes to drainage, road, I mean, there's a few other sidewalks, there's a few others that we actually have a certain amount of money, and then we prioritize that based on the projects around the county.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. And the last educational piece we have is how we deliver design work, the engineering pool. Another improvement worth noting is how we initiate design work. In 2023, the Board of Commissioners approved the creation of the pre-qualified engineering pool. 9 firms authorized to perform design work on projects under $100,000 without going to the formal procurement cycle. This pool has been extremely effective. It allows us to issue task orders quickly, advance design sooner, and maintain strong momentum for drainage, sidewalk, and road improvement projects. Projects over $100,000 still follow the formal procurement, but the engineering pool has significantly reduced delays for smaller, high-impact items.
All right, so this is a little bit different too than when we first started. And I think the county, if the county had this process in place back in previous years and previous SPLOST, they probably could have got some of those projects started sooner than they did. So we inherited several projects in 2016, but we're going to talk to those. But yeah, this just helps us get those projects off the ground quicker.
Yes, sir. I want to acknowledge the teams who made this possible: our department heads, engineers, project managers, procurement, finance, and other partner agencies. These projects represent hundreds of hours of coordination across the organization. I also want to thank the Board of Commissioners for making transparency and performance a priority throughout these public sessions. All right, so with that overview, let's begin our department updates. As each team presents, I'll add context about how their projects fit in with the broader SPLOST framework and the county's strategic goals. We'll conclude with questions or comments from the public. Thank you again for your dedication, professionalism, and commitment to delivering real results for the citizens of Glenn County. And with that, we'll first bring up David West from our IT department. And David will talk to us about our fiber network connection. David?
Good morning, Commissioners, Mr. Fallon. I'll give a brief backdate on Phase 1. Phase 1 was completed a year ago, and Phase 1 was to get fiber optic cabling from the mainland to St. Simons, and that was a really, really unique situation. I've been doing communications for many, many years. I've never had an opportunity like this, and for us to get an agreement to share right away in exchange for strands of fiber was just something I don't know if we'll ever see again. Live Oak was in a situation where they promised connectivity at a certain date, and they weren't there, and we were just starting, SPLOST 2022 project, so it worked out really, really well for both of us. That was completed, immediately, and so that's just not how a SPLOST project typically goes. It could take several years to complete a project, but we were able to do that, I think, within 90 days. So that's been very, very successful. A couple of things that, I'll brief you on that we're able to do because of that Phase 1 project. Right now, we have a geodiverse 911 system right now. It's resilient, but it's not redundant. And what I mean by that is, say during a hurricane or a tropical storm, when a tree falls on aerial fiber, we may have, different paths between PATE and public safety compound. We don't have multiple paths. So when that fiber optic goes down from a tree limb, the 911, we can't feed them internet or administrative phones, that kind of stuff. So partnering with our Live Oak agreement, we're now able to deliver the 911 campus full redundancy. And so we have 5 911 trunks at the PATE building and 5 911 trunks out at the public safety compound. We can actually deliver full redundancy now. So if a backhoe cuts the buried fiber, our aerial will work. But if a tropical storm takes out the aerial, then the buried fiber will work. So now we'll have full redundancy between our campuses. Out at Blythe Island, we're using our private fiber to connect into the agreed backbone to deliver streaming services out at Blythe. That's a big project. I know Recreation is very happy about that because they go down a lot. They don't have good customer service so they have a technology fee when an RV user shows up at the park, and if they can't watch the Dogs game or something, you're going to hear about it. And so, us delivering a streaming service to them will, with full customer service is going to be something very beneficial. Just a couple of projects we're able to do just because we did Phase 1. Now, and if you have any questions backdated to Phase 1, I'd be happy to answer. But we've begun Phase 2, and we're well on our way with Phase 2. Phase 2 is to connect all of the St. Simons Island sites on fiber. And all of that, all the circuits have been ordered, and there's the map right there of the connectivity. We're going to light up every St. Simons Island site except Gascoigne Bluff. There's not any customers there. We can pick it up at a later date, but all of your other county sites will be lit up. And that's where we're at now. We ordered those circuits. They're in the process of putting in the fiber backbone for those sites. But you're going to have a hub site at the highest ground at Fire Station 2. That will be the hub. And from there, we'll feed the north end of the island. We'll pick up the Fire Station 4, Fire Station 7. We'll go to the beaches. And we were originally going to go to Coast Guard Station, but obviously that's under construction now. So we're going to deliver the fiber to Massingale. And then once the Coast Guard Station project, I think that's a year out, something, I don't know the exact date. Whenever that is complete, then we'll backfeed the Coast Guard Station. We'll deliver it to the casino, and by also delivering to the casino, we can reduce the number of circuits that were required for the E-rate. We do E-rate at the casino. Well, there's 2 circuits we won't need now at the casino. So that's another savings for us. And then every other place, the recreation campus behind Fire Station 2, the public work campus behind, we'll pick all of that up as well. So that's where we're at. We're back, we encumbered the circuits. We're probably a couple of months out from all those being lit up.
You go back to the, just the cost on that, Michael, the breakdown. All right.
Yeah, this is very unique here as well. So, yeah, there's some question about this. Well, in technology, several years is an eternity in technology. Originally was going to be $500K to get to the island and $500K on the island. However, because we did the agreement to share the right of way with
Yep.
the strands of fiber, we did not have to expend the $500K to do St. Simon, or to get to St. Simon's. So that $500K was not utilized. I know that's, you don't ask for funding and then not use it, but that was just a situation that, like I had said earlier,
Right.
never had that again. So that $500K was not needed.
Jason, what was in the referendum on this?
$1 million, sir.
Okay, all right. So we're still good? We're,
Yes, sir.
all right.
And phase two, currently we're looking, because of the reductions in budget, we've already reduced several circuits. Because we were able to do phase one, we've reduced several circuits. We're looking at using operating budget to do phase two now. So we may not even utilize the $500K on phase two.
It was a blessing what Live Oak did.
Yeah, I think so. Yes, sir.
That was great timing for us.
It was.
Okay.
And so I just want to add, what David is looking at here and what the public sees, this is our public-facing website. Everyone has access to this. This is not something that we're just doing for this meeting. Anyone can click on here. We follow the same template every time. We give a description of the project. We give the project funding. We tell you where we are with the project. And then we try to add some photos for context. And so as we go through today, you'll see the same template used over and over again. And again, if you're ever wanting to know where we are with the project, you could log in from home and see exactly what we see.
And I wish we could show our progress, but trust me, there's progress, but it's not like when you complete a roundabout. I mean, it's visual. But I'm telling you, when our customers are utilizing the network, they know when there's 10 gig speeds versus when there's 500K. They know the difference. And I wish I could show, aerial pictures of what we do, but it's either buried or it's on a telephone pole. People don't typically look at the telephone pole when they're driving down the road. But we've also done things like get rid of microwave technology. Microwave is brutal with the lightning and storms, and the way we used to communicate with St. Simon's was over a microwave shot, and it would go down half dozen times a year just from these storms. And us going to fiber, we eliminate all of that. Now power, yeah, nothing we can do about power. I mean, this place is growing like crazy, and the power grid is struggling to keep up. There's, going to fiber is not going to change that. I mean, you have to have good stable power to keep the fiber up, but I'm sure Georgia Power will fix that.
All right. Any questions, Commissioner?
No, David, thank you.
All right.
Nice job.
Thank you, David. All right. Next, we're going to invite our EMA Director, Andy Leonza, and our Fire Chief, Chief Vinny DeCristofalo, up to talk about some of our public safety projects.
Good morning.
Morning.
All right. So I'm here to talk about the public safety multi-use facility and our update on that. So we have regularly scheduled meetings with our project management team, and of course it's construction manager at risk project. Current phase is we're in the schematic design. Is where we're at as of our last meeting. Of course, our project manager is CPS, our design team is Jericho, and CMAR is Reeves Young. All right, so at our last meeting, Jericho has issued the schematic design package on 10/31/25. Reeves Young and Jericho are coordinating specifically on a total precast structural option. That'll influence the cost and the schedule, of course, with that. And the purchase order was issued for the work authorized, and the survey has now been delivered to the project team. geotechnical phase, PO is in process, and with the documents in hand, the team will move forward to the schematic design. This cost estimate is going to shape our design refinements in our next phase. And our next steps are continued coordination with our team, our regularly scheduled meetings, and then we'll have the geotechnical information that we'll review, and we have our next meeting on November 19th, actually.
Andy, do you want to give a little bit of background on why this project was so important?
Yeah. So our facility that we're currently in is the police department, as y'all have been there several times. And what this is going to do is this is going to allow the space for the police department to grow, which is very badly needed. Also, it'll give us our secure facility to house our emergency operations center, our 911 center, and our data center. So it's the public safety island, as we call it. So if you think about what's all there, you have a fire department, GDOT, GSP, police department's going to be their fire headquarters, animal control, and it'll be a place that's powered up with backup generator systems. It'll allow for expansion as we grow. We're not going to overbuild, but they're building smart to where as they need to build out and we expand, it'll have room to grow. It's not going to be 2 stories. Is not the plan, so it can grow out. It'll allow us to receive stuff. If you're looking at the graphic there, the circle is going to be off that traffic circle, towards where the trees are, right there in the mouse. Yeah. So we're thinking about what we need and what future staff is going to need there. Not to mention, it's a multi-use facility, so there's going to be several training rooms. So community, civic groups. Potentially anything that they need for the fire department, the police department, any other departments that need to come in there and do some training. There's going to be 4 rooms. We didn't waste money on a bunch of sleeping areas like with cots, but what we can do is convert them when a storm occurs so we can sleep and be safe through that storm.
Nice. All right.
Michael, will you go back to the, right there, just the schedule, because I just want to go through the schedule. So let's, Andy, if you don't mind, let's just go down a little bit, Michael, right there.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a while. I have the last schedule that we have from our last meeting with Reeves Young. This schedule that we have lists all the milestones of where we're at. We have an actual document. I guess we can upload if we need to. And we will have this sometime during hurricane season 2027. So getting all this, thinking ahead, making sure that we know that we have the switching that we need for the electronics, the generator and everything ordered way ahead of time. So that's the plan. They'll get on that as soon as they know, because we have to kind of lock down what we're building to ensure we can get those parts ordered, so we won't be delayed by any of that.
All right, Michael, will you just scroll just up in that same block? I just want to go through the timeline here. No, keep going. Yeah. Yep. All right, so we go down to in that same block and just go down to where construction. All right, so I just want to comment on there. So the original start date was supposed to be 3/13 of 2025. Jason?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's some of the reasons that we're not there yet? It's not a problem. I just want to make sure that we're, in our efforts to be transparent, I just want to make sure we talk through some of the challenges that we've had to make sure that everybody understands
Right.
there are reasons for it, right?
Right. Well, so we've been in design. We continue to be in design. It's not that I don't feel like we're behind as much as we have just been in a design phase longer than what we thought we might be. And there's a lot going into this. We originally thought we might have a 2-story building. There was some consideration of additional grant funding that we had. And so we finally decided on a 1-story building. We finally decided on what the budget was going to be for this project. And once we had those numbers, then we could start moving forward with the design.
Well, just another correction too. I put a note down. I want to talk about the when we talk about the budget, the SPLOST budget is set, so that's exact, and that's what we had in the referendum. So anything else that we add on, obviously, we'll have to come up with funding from elsewhere. That's why we reached out to, we had support from the federal legislature to get some additional money, but that didn't go through in the last appropriation. So hopefully we'll be back at the table again next year and ask for a little bit more as well. But design, I get it. I think that's a good explanation as to why design has taken this long. So typically design does not take, right now we started in August of 2024, so we're November now of 2025. So 15 months for design. Typically it doesn't take this long. But when do we anticipate design to be completed?
Resident, can you cover that?
We anticipate shoveling the ground September of 26 and then completion of October 27. So a couple things I'll add on to that. So a lot of these dates were developed several years ago. We kicked off a lot of projects all at once. So there was some delay in some of the projects being started because, as you know, there's quite a bit, and we took on quite a chunk all at one time. But you kind of hit on it as well. We did pause for a certain period of time to look into that federal funding and appropriations because that altered the way that the project delivery method. So we wanted to go CM at risk. We could not because of the potential for federal funding. So we kind of paused, and then once we were notified we weren't getting that, we went back and procured a CM at risk. So that did impact the project timeline, but overall it'll deliver a much more efficient and budget-friendly project on the CM at risk.
All right, so let's make sure we add some of those comments to the to this in Achieve It, all right, and just make sure that we're updating that because if we can put that in the construction block. So in the last comments, let's put some of that information out there so the public has it. So it's all good information. I agree with it. It's unfortunately that's the process that we have to follow, and so we want to get it right, obviously. So if we could let's just update that. Thank you.
Just a quick question, Jason. With pursuing the project now on precast and pre-engineered components, would that not facilitate the construction phase a little faster, more of an assembly project as opposed to a construction project?
I would think it would, sir.
By several months. It'll cut down construction by several months.
I thought it would be. Thank you. And then one other question, Andy, in regards to the emergency generation, is that self-contained fuel with the generator, or do we have a separate fuel tank? And then the other is how many days of fuel would we maintain?
I can jump in on that.
Yeah.
So a lot of generators we've been installing recently are natural gas. And so natural gas is an option. The other option there is we have a large diesel tank in the ground to supply fuel to vehicles. We currently tap into that tank for our generators at the PD. So that is a possibility as well to tap into that tank and use that as the fuel supply.
Okay, and presumably we would keep at least 3 days of fuel available in
That
emergency.
has over 15,000 gallons of capacity in that tank.
Thank you.
And everything when we started by the FEMA design codes as the project, as we took in what does FEMA recommend going into emergency operations center, whether it be a wind resistant rating, the shielding for the air conditioners on the top, and the generators and all that. So.
Thank you.
Well, I think, and Danny, maybe you can answer this, but I know we had talked at one point about the whole public safety complex and maybe taking a look at how we use the generators out there to power everything, right?
Yes, and that's something that we're still pursuing. We have multiple buildings out there, multiple generators. We currently have 2 generators on site that have the capability and capacity to power the entire complex. So the idea is we have a small power plant, if you will. And that's something we're still looking into because I think we could eliminate several generators if we wanted to and just powered all the buildings, 2 centrally located generators.
Yeah, that would help. Chief DeChristopoulos building, plus, but the big one is really animal control.
And, animal control, which currently does not have a generator. And the reason I say 2 is, again, as David West said, redundancy. That's why we have multiple generators on one building. That's to make sure that the 911 center stays powered.
All right, very good. Okay, any other questions on EOC? All right.
Thanks, Andy. You're welcome to hang out. We're going to transition to Chief Benny, to Chris Powell, and we're going to talk about the fire station, the new fire station at Chapel Crossing.
Well, good morning, all. Sorry. We got back a little bit. I talk loud, right, Chief? So our first project funded by SPLOST is a Tier 1 for fire rescue is the fire station located at Highway 17 and Chapel Crossing. This project was developed through a historical study of our call volume and in the area, an underserved area that had a heavy call volume. We worked with our partners at FLETC and the federal government to identify a piece of property that the federal government then donated to Glenn County at no cost to the taxpayer. And then we started our design process. The project design is completed. It has gone through value engineering to ensure that we're getting underneath the SPLOST budget. Here's a mock-up of the exterior. Right now at the site, we are working with the geotechnical surveys. We've identified a couple of wells, a couple of tanks that were there when it was, for however long, and working on the removal or mitigation of those, and then identifying what areas need to be cleared, what natural vegetation can be saved to make it still, a very appealing piece of property there. This station will have 4 bays. We were building it to be prepared for the expected growth and development along the 17 corridor and the development that already exists between 17 and Golden Isles, which we call like the mall area. So this station and location is going to be an asset. It's going to reduce the call volume to our Station 1 there at Ballard Park. We are looking forward to groundbreaking in February with a 10-month build, so we're expecting December of 26 to be responding from calls from there.
Michael. So just going back to that, Chief, I know we were a little concerned that we under budgeted for this, based on what we needed for not only for now but for the future. But we're pretty confident now, based on. I think the big step probably was bringing in the project management firm. That's really helpful.
Yes, sir. Bringing in a CPS to oversee it and work with the architect and the construction team,
Mm-hmm.
and then of course Resident and Jason's constant touching of the project. But we are, and I believe Mr. Talbot will agree, we're very happy with where we sit with the budget at this time.
Through the value engineering, we've made several cuts to bring it within budget. Overall, it will be more than the 7.3. We did add 1 bay to it. Originally, it was programmed as a 3-bay fire station. For future needs, we decided to add a bay, but we funded that additional cost out of the fire fund balance.
Okay, good.
Not with SPLOST funds.
Will you drop down a little bit, Michael? Just look at the timeline here.
And I will add, we are trying everything we can to save money. So, for example, instead of having the contractor remove trees for the new fence line, we partnered with our own internal public works team. And Sean and his team have been very helpful to get our own tree service out there. So we're going to start removing trees, get the new fence up. Of course, we're lockstep with FLETC, keeping them in constant communication on what we're doing with this project.
Is there anything else on there? Yeah, that's what I was looking for, Michael. Just take a look here real quick. You scroll up in that box, scroll up to the top for me. Okay, timeline looks good. Scroll down. All right, Commissioner, I think this is a good news story for us. This is definitely I think a win as far as what we need out there. It's been a win from the start, just with FLETC donating the land to us to start with. But this is pretty exciting. And then timeline-wise too, it's going to be a major project to get done. If we can be up in nearly a year from now, it's going to be great.
Yeah.
If I could just add,
Does it cut response time to North 17 and all?
It will reduce the response time and the call load on Engine 5 at the airport coming south along there. So it will improve response times to those communities that are along 17 in the north.
Thank you, Benny.
Yeah, and when we have the QERs on the performance measures, when we talk about our strategic plan, that's one of the ones that Chief DeCristofalo highlights all the time, particularly this area where they have to respond to from Ballard just doesn't work. And so response times are key, and this is going to help us meet the standard that we set.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good news.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Also on this page, you'll notice that there is a YouTube video. Just give a plug to our internal GIS department. These guys get out there, and you'll sometimes, as you get to a page, you'll see they've got the drones flying, and it's always fun to see the before. They do a great job for us, so I'll make sure they get some credit. Any more questions on this?
Oh, I think we're good.
All right. The next project that we had was the airport fire station. And Robert Burr and his team weren't able to join us today. There was another meeting, but they did pass along. They do keep their page updated. And they've had some funding issues, but they have issued a notice to proceed, and they expect construction to begin on their fire station first week of December, which is also partly funded through our SPLOST dollars.
Yeah, it certainly is. So let's drop down to that. I think this is a good example of partnership with the airport, certainly.
So this project was originally designed as a three base station. The airport commission did go out to their funding sources, and they secured the funding to make it a 4 base station, which will ensure that we're able to provide better service as that entire area continues to grow out. This station not only serves the airport, but it serves that entire community in that area, including parts of Fletsy, and then on the other side, all the Harry Driggers communities, and then all the way up to 99 and the new roundabout. So it's a larger area. The Chapel Crossing Station will reduce that area down a little bit, which will improve response times and reliability of those units to be available for calls. As I think you saw on the site overview, the project was originally going to be built on the same side as the terminal as the current fire station, but we started looking at what is a better piece of property, and so it's now been moved to the other side of the terminal in between Gulfstream and the terminal, which will give our units a straight shot out onto Glencoe Parkway rather than having to go through the terminal pedestrian crosswalks and things such as that. So, and then Airport Authority is going to reuse the old station as storage and maintenance for their equipment and things such as that.
So this station should come online about when?
Right about the same time. We're thinking November of 26. So
terrific. We'll have 2 new fire stations.
2 new fire stations. Two big events next winter.
Great. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So this is one where what was the original? What was the referendum number for SPLOST?
I think it was $2 million.
Yeah. So, Michael, you go back to the other slide that showed the cost. Yeah, that one. And so, yeah, we were concerned about this one. We were at one point we were looking at really not even being able to meet the basic requirements that the fire department had. So the airport commission did a fantastic job of going out to FAA and some other sources to ensure that we had the funding that we needed to cover this. So not that one, Michael. Can you go back the full one? Not that's just design. Yeah, that one. So that gives you a better picture of where we are. So, yeah, another success, I think, as far as it's going to be great for the residents out there,
Yes.
plus the airport, obviously.
Yes, sir.
All right, nice job.
And then while we've got Chief up here, the last thing we'll talk about is the public safety vehicles.
So our other Tier 1 projects was acquisition of a ambulance and a fire pumper. Happy to say that we have received both. The ambulance has been in service for a few months now. About 3 weeks ago, we received the pumper, which you see there on the left on the screen. It is currently at Fire Fleet, being upfitted with equipment and all the hose and all the electronics that need to be on there to make it a working fire apparatus for us. Anticipating next week we'll start our training over the holiday break, and then we'll place that unit in service there at Station 1.
That's a good looking vehicle.
Yeah, it came out really nice. We're happy with it. This is one where we found a new apparatus manufacturer. We did not use Pierce, because of the delay and turnaround of a fire apparatus. So we worked with a new manufacturer that had what we'll call like a stock program, and we were able to do some slight customization to fit our needs, but they delivered it in 10 months from build to delivery.
That's impressive.
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
We were looking at 3 years with Pierce. And if I may, working with Jason and Resden, we did develop a SPLOST logo, and that logo has been placed on both of these vehicles. So the public, when they see these vehicles, they'll be able to know that their SPLOST dollars are truly at work providing emergency services.
Good messaging. Thank you.
Yes.
How about tier 2? What do we have in tier 2?
In tier 2, we have a aerial apparatus and an ambulance, an aerial apparatus, an ambulance, and then a command vehicle.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've got $3 million in tier 2 for fire rescue.
And the reason I asked, same thing, just delivery time and
Yes, sir.
back order, that type of stuff.
Yes,
so
sir.
we started to explore.
Yeah, we're already paying attention to that. I've been working with Mr. Talbert and Tamara on various options of how we want to pull the trigger
Sure.
and when is the right time to pull the trigger, especially on the aerial apparatus.
Yeah. Okay. Very good.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, next we're going to bring from our Public Works team, Sean Robinson, our Public Works Director, and Anthony Bison, our Transportation Division Manager. Sean.
Good morning. Morning, guys.
Sean, welcome. So we've got the Ocean Boulevard cross-drain upsize and tide gate installation.
All right. Yeah, Ocean Boulevard cross drain and tide gates. So the goal here is to perform a drainage evaluation and improvements on Ocean Boulevard. This is from Arnold Road to East Beach Causeway. It's currently in the design phase with GWES. They've identified possibly 5 locations to install tide gates. These gates would prevent salt water from entering the drainage system, which would prolong the life of the infrastructure. The last survey should be complete by the end of December, and we're hoping to have the complete design by the end of January.
That's fantastic.
So those cross drains would be draining from the east side of Ocean Boulevard across to the west side to a tributary that I think that connects to Postel Creek.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
So in addition to preventing salt water from coming back into the system, which extends the life of the pipe, that also allows, you don't surcharge your pipes with the tide, so you get better drainage.
Any questions on this?
Just if you could, Michael, just timeline again.
Well, so this is just going out for design now. So
Okay. All right. Very good.
and our next project is the Druid Oaks drainage.
All right, Druid Oaks is an older neighborhood with inefficient drainage. The goal here is to perform topographical and boundary surveys to find out what's the best way to tie into the existing drainage system. It's currently in the design phase with GWS as well, and they're waiting for their final survey and gathering information on buried utilities. We will likely see this complete design by the end of this year.
Okay, so just going back, just to make sure everybody's clear, so these are the buckets that we talked about.
That's right.
Not spread it across the entire county. I think that, this is just another example of the projects that we have within those buckets. So All right, very good, much needed.
One thing I'll hit on, Bill, as well, and I know we talked about it in our strategic plan, but so this one, we originally did not program this one to start until 2026. So this is how we kind of get ahead of it. We go ahead and start the design. That way, when we get to the date that we originally planned, we can pull the trigger on construction. So we're streamlining these projects. We're starting them sooner. That way, we can get them completed sooner.
Sure, great.
And then the next project, we've got Mallory Street drainage.
All right. The drainage system in this area requires regular maintenance from Public Works due to sediment collecting in an outlet that's on private property. The goal here is to pipe this ditch and acquire an easement for future maintenance. So it's currently out for bid. It went out on November 5th, and the bid closes on the 24th.
Excellent. All right. Any questions on that? Nope. Okay. The next project is one that we talked about a little bit earlier. It was the Emmanuel Church drainage. Show me what Tony did.
Yeah, I get this one. So, this area of US Highway 82 has multiple communities that have had drainage issues ever since I started. And so this has kind of been a career passion project for me, especially dealing with residents from the lakes, the people along Emmanuel Church. And after time of evaluating the issues and doing small in-house projects to make big improvements, we've located that one of the major issues is a choke point that is underneath the railroad. And I kind of thought, well, this is a little obvious. Why haven't we done anything here yet? Well, it became very apparent why we haven't done anything, because this has been a very challenging project for us. I thought that this would be something simple as going to the owners of the railroad, which is the Georgia Port Authorities. Well, once we awarded this contract for design to GWES, they kind of took the lead with talking with the property owners. So we started with Georgia Port Authorities, and then we met, the communication went back and forth between them, and once we started wrapping things up, they said, well, you also need to talk to our property managers, which is Golden Owls Railroad out of Jacksonville. So then they had their own set of issues that we had to overcome with them as well, requirements we had to meet. And as we were wrapping up and paying our fees with them, they said, well, you also need to get approval from the people that we lease this to, which is GW Railroad. So that prolonged the project a little bit longer. Mm-hmm. So we went to them, and this required us to have a third-party engineer look and review this, and that came with a hefty fee. The problem was they didn't have this engineer on contract yet, so we had to wait, I believe it was like 3 or 4 months just for them to have this company on contract before they were even able to review and give our input back to our design. We pushed to get answers from them, and finally the review was completed. Then, of course, we had to go back and do right of entry agreements, easement agreements, who's going to take control over it. And so dealing with one entity was hard. Dealing with 3 this is probably one of the more challenging projects we have on this list. But the good news is we've satisfied all their requirements. The final easement agreement is with legal, and we're wrapping that up soon. And I'm hoping that we will have this out for a construction bid early next year, January, February. The design's completed, all permitting is completed, environmental permitting is completed. So I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel on this one. I'm very excited because this is going to bring some well-needed relief for drainage for these communities. People along Emmanuel Church Road, every time we get a heavy rainfall, there's not too many outlets that goes in the direction of the marsh and the river for this to get out. So this right here is going to make big improvements in this area.
And one of the things I'd like to just point out is getting back to the transparency piece. As we spoke about earlier, when we have an issue and we're off track, we say that we're off track. And so, Michael, if you look in the comments there, Tony puts on there, we're off track. You see that the 24.5% is yellow. That's us telling the public we realize there's an issue and we're doing everything we can to get back on track.
Tony, what is the current, how many pipes are there currently and what size are they under that railroad bed?
There's 2 pipes currently. If you go down there, I believe that those are 2 36-inch pipes, and we're adding those 3 pipes to go along with it. We had to take into consideration the appropriate amount of coverage for these pipes. That's why we couldn't do like one large culvert because it would go too low and we wouldn't get adequate drainage. So we had to add 3 pipes to this to get the appropriate flow.
You know, one thing I don't think the public realizes how many steps and how many things you have to go to get a project started or permission or, you know, thank you.
Appreciate that. This was a learning experience for me too. So.
Between Georgia Power on some things, we've got the railroad on others, GDOT, we've definitely got a lot of hoops to jump through.
Michael, will you just go back? So, Tony, just go. All right. So, what timeline? What are we looking at now?
Now we're expecting the design to be wrapped up this year, and then we will put this out to bid hopefully in January. That has to go through the procurement process and finance committee.
Yeah.
Board.
What's the estimated cost on this?
This was for design only.
So we don't.
Yeah, I can't. I don't
Well,
recall.
design's not done, so we'll
Right.
we'll update it once we get design back.
Right.
The permitting fees alone and fees to the railroad have been substantial.
Right. Yeah, it does have a separate budget for construction. I apologize, I don't have that with me right now.
And to point out, this project and the Perry Lane, we have a project on Perry Lane where we're dealing with the railroad also. They're very simple projects, and the construction time will be brief, but the permitting process and working with those different railroad entities really drags these out, which is something to consider in the future. If we know we're going to be near a railroad or have impact to a railroad, we need to make sure we include that in our timeline, that it's going to be a long process. And in our budget, there were some unexpected fees with this project, the third-party engineering review that we had to pay for so to satisfy the railroad requirements.
All right, and so let's go ahead and move on to the hair-trigger sidewalk and retaining wall.
All right. The hair-trigger sidewalk. So this is another project that I've been looking to get done for some time. Currently, we have a portion of the sidewalk on Harry-Jurgis Road that borders this pocket marsh or this wetland. And what's holding up the sidewalk is this wooden retaining wall. I believe it's been rebuilt in the past before my time, but the weather and the water has taken its effect on it. It needs a solution that's going to last a lot longer than wood. So the design part was a capital project, and our idea is to replace this with a concrete retaining wall, and we're going to have metal guardrails going along the side. So Harry Draggers is a very widely used path for people walking, running, jogging. We have a couple schools there, parks, so it gets widely used for pedestrians. So this right here is going to make it safer and more efficient for use for that. It's also going to eliminate the undermining issue that we're having here. So this one is a design with muffin and nickel right now, and we're at the end of the design phase. They told me that they are wrapping up the ENS and permitting, which luckily for me, they told me that they don't expect the permitting process to be that hard because we're not going to be in the wetlands. We're going to be on the upland doing the work. So we're going to be able to use a nationwide permit to do all the work in there. Basically what that means is it doesn't have to go through the whole process. We just have to notify the Corps what we're doing and send them the plans. We're expected to put this out for bid for construction early next year, January. And again, I'm not quite sure how long the construction will take on here. Probably about a month, I would say.
And so I can't think of another corridor in Glenn County that has more development than Harry Jiggers. And so this being an eyesore is potential safety concern. This is going to be a great project.
Bill, I'll add something else on this one. So this originally was an FY26 capital request, and what we did is we moved it under our SPLOST mainland bucket for sidewalks. And so what that did is you had a project that would have been fully funded with the capital projects fund and Glenn County citizens. We moved it to SPLOST, and so now the funding mechanism is paid for almost in half by tourism. So that's another benefit for having these buckets and the SPLOST funding available for these kind of projects.
No, that's good. I appreciate you guys, the flexibility that you show in these, within the pots of money that you have for sidewalks and for roads and for drainage. That's get the priorities done, and I know this was certainly one of the priorities that we had.
Sir.
All right, and then the last project is that Tony will talk about is the old Jessup box culvert.
Yes, so this is a project that is being needed because we're replacing a culvert that is too high elevated to serve its purpose. The water has to build up and back up. If you go back to that map just a little bit right there at the red area, so it's going from northeast to southwest in that direction. And the water has to back up in that ditch before it gets high enough before it can come through that culvert. So that creates water backup in people's yards because the water's not being able to get into the ditch and out that pipe in a long enough time. So we are going to, this was designed in-house by the engineering services, and we are going to be replacing this culvert with 248 culverts. So it's going to be a lot easier and faster to have it installed than a box culvert. We don't have to do anything cast in place or wait for something to be pre-manufactured to bring in. Concrete pipe is more readily available, and then we'll do a hot patch over it to smooth out any all the cracks that this has caused previously.
What year was this program for? Do you recall?
2028.
2028. So this is another example of a very simple project that we're able to accelerate. I wanted to point out, as Tony mentioned, that we did use in-house design on this because it does not require permitting. It's a very simple project, but we're able to move it forward and get this completed ahead of schedule.
All right, great.
And I expect this project will have a pretty big impact in that area because
Absolutely.
it's going to lower the water level probably a foot or more over what it currently is, which will provide a significant drainage improvement for that area that it's serving.
All right. Well, gentlemen, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Good job. Good job.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll bring up Lisa Gagranis. She's our Recreation and Parks Director. And Lisa, would you like Adam? Hey, would you like Adam Cawthorn also to come up for the last project here?
I think we're good.
We're good for
Yeah.
now? All right.
All right, use your lifeline if you need it.
All right, I like it.
All
So,
right.
well, good afternoon. Yeah, we'll talk about Ballard Park. Most of the Ballard Park SPLOST improvement project is complete. There were several different components completed last summer were the replacement of the athletic field fencing, court demo of the tennis courts, and this past year, Ray Kaysen, our Park Services manager, he worked on the batting cage addition to add 2 nice batting cages there where the tennis courts used to be. So we completed those in the fall, just a couple weeks ago. And our remaining balance of $60,000 and some change, our plans are to start working on a dog park addition that will be near those batting cages in that area where the tennis court used to be. So that's our plans, and Ray will be spearheading that project probably starting in 26 into the spring.
Nice. Looks really good.
Michael, will you just go to the cost for the funding? All right, excellent. That's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot for 300,000.
We have gotten a lot out of that
Looks
for
great.
sure.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yes, we're excited about that. That'll be good amenities for that park.
All right, let's go to the next one, Michael.
Selden Park improvements, $965,000 was what was allocated in SPLOST. We have spent about $52,000 and some change to date on some minor things at the park. If you recall, this project originally was slated for funding in the year 2026, but we did get approval to go ahead and do some security equipment and camera updates that our IT department, David West and his team, spent about $17,600 on for the headmaster's house, just to make sure that was secure as we were trying to open it as a museum. And then we issued a purchase order just a few months ago to a vendor for $35,100 to start working on 7 interpretive signs that will eventually be placed around the new park trail that we are working on now. Working with engineering services, Adam Cothran and his team, they did in-house design on the trail system that will basically be constructed around the perimeter of the park. It'll add approximately 5,000 linear feet of 8-foot wide concrete sidewalk. That will be a nice path that will, again, go around the perimeter of the park, and it will connect with the interior sidewalks that exist. And the project has been bid. The Finance Committee has approved recommending award of a contract, and it will be on Thursday's Board of Commission meeting agenda to hopefully award the contract. And once that's done, Reston and his team will handle contract execution, and the hope is that we'll begin construction on this sometime in mid-January. There's a 120-day time frame for construction of that trail. So we would theoretically be looking at sometime by May of having that trail open, and that is hopefully to coincide with about the time frame that we will have those 7 interpretive signs ready to go, and they will be placed in the areas where there are park benches and seating stations around that trail. So it's going to be really nice when it's complete. We are working with the Selden Park Advisory Board on some of these, so that we're making sure that we're getting some of their input into how the project proceeds. We will, if the contract is awarded Thursday evening, we will still have about $559,000 in the Selden Park SPLOST budget. And the plan is to, again, work with Adam and his team, hopefully, on the parking improvements that have been discussed for a while, to pave some of the parking areas that are there and make more formalized parking, especially in the area where the gymnasium is and the swimming pool and those areas, to accommodate the crowds that come for family gatherings, youth basketball, county picnics. The facility is also a facility designed to be potentially open as a public shelter during emergency activations. So we want to make sure we have a nice parking area. So that will be our next step to utilize the SPLOST funding after we get going on the sidewalk. And then we may end up having more money to do some other improvements down the road.
Yeah, so my question is on some of the other improvements, just what your vision is for the fields and some of the things out there. I mean, soccer's huge out there.
Right, and in our budget this year, we were able to get money for a well. So part of our plans for that money for the well is to improve the irrigation system that feeds that soccer field. So that's a budgeted thing, but we could certainly do some more improvements around there. So we're open to any suggestions if there's anything that the commissioners have that they want to see, because I don't know that the parking will take up the remaining balance of that, but we want to get through that piece of it before we see what else could be done out there.
So what are the fields used for? I know I see the people playing soccer, but what about any rec sports? What do we have out there? Just practice?
Practices, yes,
Yeah.
sir. And they're just open, but yes, sir, we do have some soccer groups that come out and play on a regular basis. There's some football teams that practice there that are not a part of our program, but it's an open facility, and so they utilize it for practices. It was pretty busy this past fall, actually. And then sometimes the field is used for festivals. The Juneteenth festival is typically held on that field, and some other festivals that people have here in the community. They rent those fields for those types of activities.
It's big space. What do we need? Do we need any more fields for mostly just practice? I mean, do we have
Mostly just
any rec
practice.
sports that kids, youth sports that smaller kids that we could put out there? That do we have any areas where we have kind of a bottleneck on space when it comes to being able to schedule everything?
Not really, and with our youth football program, our coaches know that they don't have to practice at North Glen, even though the games are played there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't necessarily need a full-size football field to practice, so they do have that flexibility that they could go there to practice if they wanted to. It's just a matter of what's most convenient for those coaches. Most of the soccer teams do practice at North Glen that we know, but.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think Selden's a gem. I think it's a nice park, and we can certainly make it better.
And there may be some things that we can do related to the headmaster's house to spruce that up, and then some of our pavilions could use some sprucing up. So there are some things that we could do. We've talked about a dog park, actually creating a dog park on the backside of the park, kind of across from the swimming pool. That once the trail is there, that would be a nice tie-in for people to have a nice place to let their dogs off leash once if they've walked the trail.
So our next SPLOST in 6 months, hopefully the trail will be open about then. We can announce it.
Be great.
It'll be nice when it opens. Yeah.
It will be, yes, sir.
So Bill, I'll take an opportunity to make a statement. I'll use this project as an example. So as we've discussed, we've started to see pricing kind of level out now. We're getting better pricing. We're getting more bids, which, more competition leads to better pricing. So in this particular one, we received 8 bids, which is phenomenal, ranging from $300,000 to $650,000. So that's a huge disparity between the two, and if we're only getting 1 or 2 and they're around that 600 range, we do less. So we almost doubled what we're able to do. So the better pricing we get, the better value we get out of the total project funding. So we're able to do more, and we're able to stretch it.
All right, great. Yeah, it's good. It's coming back around finally. Mm-hmm.
Next project is Deering Park improvements. We've reported on this previously. The pavilion restroom facility project went very well and opened up last year. We do have a little bit of money remaining in this SPLOST budget. It's about $21,000 and some change. And what we're looking at doing is on the Toluca Lane side of that park. There was a lot of clearing of underbrush and overgrown stuff as we put in the trail, the sidewalk trail that was added to the park a year or so ago. So what we're thinking is some decorative fencing, landscaping and stuff, just to kind of dress up that area along Toluca Lane at that park. So $21,000, not a ton of money, but I think it could get us some nice pretty stuff to put there around the park.
Yeah, that's the closest residential area to it, so yeah, it'd be good to
kind of put some screening back up.
Yep.
What we had taken out, probably put something back in. So we'll work on that probably more in the spring.
Okay, good.
And then the last project, which is why Adam Cochran was mentioned, is North Glen Sidewalk, which is actually being funded by the SPLOST sidewalk bucket that Resin referred to when he was talking about Harry Driggers. So we're real excited about this because this has been something that we have requested previously in our capital budget. So real excited that this is a possibility here now through SPLOST. We've got approximately $200,000 to try to construct a sidewalk that would take folks from the sidewalk along Harry Driggers Boulevard and enter the park at the football soccer entrance, which there are 3 entrances into the park, so this would be kind of the middle one. There's already a crosswalk in that area that would take people to North Glen, but there's nowhere to go once they get inside the park except the road. So this is a sidewalk that would lead to somewhere, some amenities within the park. We've been, obviously we knew we could not do this during the football soccer season that we're just wrapping up. So we've been in conversation with Adam and his team to work on some conceptual ideas of how it would come in, what drainage is, improvements might be needed to make sure we don't cause any other problems, and then where's the sidewalk going to go once it gets inside the park? Will it lead to the skate park? Will it lead to a parking area? Will it connect to something within the park? So this is real exciting, and we're hoping that we can get out to bid maybe early in the new year, and then maybe be under construction hopefully in the spring or early summer possibly of next year. So.
Thank you, Lisa.
Thanks.
Fantastic.
That's it.
Thank you. Yeah, great job. All right. Our next presenter today is going to be Adam Cothran from our engineering services team. And Adam and I will bring this home. Adam?
Yes, sir.
All right. And so, as it happens, the first project on our list is one that I'll take. So one of the main proponents in helping us pass this SPLOST was the traffic on the causeway coming onto St. Simon's Island. And so one of the things that we wanted to do was, through SPLOST, have a project that would alleviate or make that intersection more efficient. And so the St. Simon's Island Gateway Improvements project was formed here. And what you see is a series of 3 roundabouts. One as you come onto the island that would allow people to go either to the left or the right, depending on which part of the island they're going to. It slows people down, which is great for those people living in Yacht Club, because people are coming on to the island pretty quick sometimes. And so that's a safety concern. We'll slow folks down, and then we'll hopefully take a lot of that pressure off that route that goes to Kingsway, with most of the traffic going to Demery or to the Sea Island Causeway up to the north end of the island. And so, as you see, we've got the 3 roundabout structure. And in addition to this project also encompasses our Demery Road. So we've got drainage and road improvements there that we'll be taking on. And so right now we're in the design phase. We're actually doing some right-of-way work, and hopefully we'll have that wrapped up by the end of the month, and we'll get a right-of-way consultant to start going out and approaching the landowners that we need to talk to. But yeah, this is going to be a great project. It's a lot of work. It's the biggest project that we've got for SPLOST right now, and a lot of hands in it. But once it's done, it's going to provide a lot of positive impact for the people, both working and living on St. Simon's.
All right, let's go to the schedule.
You know, one thing I'd like to add about this, you know, when I first saw a roundabout, I was kind of like, But now that you see how they work and how traffic keeps moving, every day going on the island, it backs up, sometimes nearly the back river. So with everything flowing, it just makes it to me, it's the solution to getting over there, on and off.
Right. Yeah, and right, as you say, off, because in the morning, for those of us that live there, coming off can be such a headache. But now this is going to make things more efficient for us.
Thank you, Justin.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's just go over the schedule again.
And so for the schedule, as I mentioned, we're in design. Design should wrap up by mid-2026, but as I also mentioned, we are going to be entering into right-of-way and permitting. And as we know from other projects, that could delay the start of construction. We would like to get started by the end of the year, but let's see how this goes. We've got things that have to fall into place that are beyond our control.
Okay.
You know, red lights are choke points, and when this one and the others are put in, most of the choke points are gone. I think that's what a lot of people don't realize.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Mr. John, do you have any other comments on this? Questions?
No, I agree, Chairman. It's we've proven that they work,
They do.
and you know, people still. I think people are still concerned about. I see some comments about increased accidents, but you know, when you talk about the accidents, if there aren't accidents, they're not 40, 50, and 60 mile an hour speed accidents.
Traffic circles are the safest traffic.
And-
Accidents happen, absolutely, but they're very low-speed accidents. They're fender benders, minimal damage. They're not a car blowing a light at 40, 50 miles an hour that ends in a fatality.
And roundabouts are the way GDOT wants to go going forward. They
See them everywhere.
I'd also like to point out that this adds to the resiliency of our community. You know, when you have a roundabout and you have a hurricane, you don't have to worry about a power supply. You know,
That's a great point.
they function whether there's electrical power or not. They don't have to be reconstructed after they're blown down during a hurricane. So, you know, not only and then the routine maintenance that goes with the traffic signal is eliminated. You still have routine maintenance of this, but
with that point, it should make it, if you had to evacuate the island, it should make it easier to get off.
that is correct.
No, and we say it all the time, and Chairman, your comment, I see it every day. And today, the traffic backed up coming onto the island was about halfway between the Back River and McKay River Bridge. So it was shorter than usual. Usually I'm telling you, it's always, you know, particularly when school's in session, that's really the trigger. It's just, I feel bad for the people that are trying to come onto the island to go to work. Okay.
All right. The next project is one of our success stories. Adam, you want to talk about Canal? Parkway?
Absolutely. The Canal Road roundabout project was kind of like phase 2 of the Canal Glencoe road improvement project. It piggybacked and connected, adjoined to our Canal Road widening project. The purpose of this project was to increase the movement of commerce, the traffic, public, and pedestrian throughout a major corridor of Glenn County, connecting Spur 25 to Glencoe Parkway, which is a major corridor for commerce, also just continued residential growth through those areas. The roundabout here, one of the huge or major benefits of the roundabout is it replaced the existing skewed signalized intersection. And Mr. Chairman just spoke to a while ago that those signals can be choking points. And in the surrounding areas here, around this intersection between Glencoe, Harry Driggers, and Canal Road, we have major agencies, industrial hubs, federal hubs from FLETC to the airport, and all the agencies that's in there within the airport, and plus the continuing developing residential growth along Harry Driggers Road. So a lot of traffic moves to that area, and if anybody was familiar with the old signal, traffic would back up heavily during the morning times, during the lunch times, and during the time school would get out and folks get off work. I mean, it was a choke point there, and it was unsafe with the skew of that intersection. But this project was awarded to curb and gutter professionals. Construction started last summer. There were some delays due to weather and some utility delays, but I'm proud to say that we are, as of October the 24th, we are substantially complete. All roads and lanes have been opened up to the traffic. If you've been in this area, you've seen the progress as it has taken place. And much of the work did not impact the traffic during construction, because much of the work, as GIS had captured through several of our videos, this was designed to be as much out of the existing intersection as possible. So much of the work took place outside of the existing roadway, and only toward the end of the project did we start really impacting the traffic, which I know it was construction always is and can be a mess with traffic, especially that amount of traffic. But if you're in that area now, if you've been through that intersection, and which I have been out monitoring the traffic in that area from the early hours of the FLETC till school getting out and folks headed home down Harry Driggers, it has greatly increased the efficiency. And to residents' point, this is for the safety of this area. This roundabout is it eliminates, there's less contact points in a roundabout than there is in a standard intersection, and to that point that it's slow travel. So if there is an accident or an incident, it's typically to a fender bender to that point. But we also in part of this project we had widened out to match the existing widening of the Canal Road widening. We took 4 lanes with a center median lane, and that's also going to provide us for the future of development and progress. As we have plans down the road to widen out Glencoe Parkway. This roundabout will be able to handle all those improvements. It's a multi-lane roundabout, and it will be able to handle all those improvements that come down the road. So it's not something that we're going to have to go back and redesign or add to in the years in the future as the county continues to grow and develop, and commerce and businesses and residents continue to get into the area. But this project is completed on budget. I'm glad to say that, and we are wrapping up. The contractor is currently been some delays with the final striping, but the contractor is out there this week installing the final thermoplastic striping and continuing to work outside on the. So when I say substantially complete, the project is in use. It's fully open to the public, but we're continuing just to wrap up some minor things, some punch list items with the contractor outside the roadway, minus the final striping. So we anticipate final striping on this project to be completed this week, and then a punch list and a walkthrough to be conducted next week, just to catch anything outside out there that we don't want the contractor to focus on any final things before we release the final payment.
All right, another big project. GDOT was supported us on this, and they in fact helped us fund this, recognizing that the angles there at that light were a safety issue. I will tell you this: all my friends at FLETC, I get messages all the time about how much they love this because they don't sit in traffic anymore like they used to.
Absolutely.
And I think a lot of I've heard the same thing from some of the residents out there. It's just it looks complicated when you look at the photo. It does look a little bit complicated, but when you drive it, it's not. And so I know that, like I said, people out there are appreciative that we got this one done.
Yes, sir. And had no idea the amount of FLETC traffic until we got out there monitoring that traffic in the morning time. But man, there is a lot that come in that back gate, so I have no doubt they definitely have a free pass through there now without having to stop for that red light when no traffic's coming.
Well, to be honest with you, there are a lot of people that actually went around and went to the front gate just so they didn't have to go back there for that traffic. So, okay, good.
Roadway resurfacing.
Yes, sir. The roadway resurfacing is one of the best ways that Glenn County spends its taxpayer dollars to the benefit of the public and the infrastructure. On a yearly basis, Glenn County has a resurfacing contract, what we call a LMIG, which is we partner with GDOT. Georgia Department of Transportation offers a grant, which is a local maintenance improvement grant. And it typically is roughly just below $1.1 million for the last 3 years for the LMIG resurfacing years for the 23, 24, and 25. We're looking at about $3.19 million from GDOT in that grant. That's a great benefit to Glenn County and the citizens of Glenn County. They offer it statewide, not just to us, but we definitely take advantage of it. That grant requires a 30% match. For the recipients from Glenn County, we're required to match that 30%. But Glenn County always goes above and beyond with our resurfacing contracts. This for Tier 1 under our SPLOST 22. We allocated $8 million for SPLOST. For the LMIG resurfacing contracts. We have currently at this time between the 25, which is active and continuing on go, we have resurfaced 29 linear centerline miles. Our strategic goal is for 33. We have 7 linear miles, centerline miles left on the 25 LMIG contract that we will complete by the end of this contract. The 25 started out in September of this year and is anticipated to be completed by March of next year. So at the completion of that contract, we will have completed 36 linear miles of centerline miles of resurfacing. And as I mentioned, resurfacing is the, folks drive back and forth, home to work, to places of business and shopping on their roads, their county road, their neighborhood roads. And this allows us not only to continue the maintenance of our existing roadway, but it's the first evidence, that person going home, the citizens every day, Danny, every day they ride that road. If there's a pothole, if that road's in rough shape, at times that's what they think of how their money's being spent. And Glenn County has always done a great job of keeping our roads on a good score. And currently, right now, we just completed a road assessment study with a contractor. We're trying to finish that project up, but I believe about 65% of our roads score in Glenn County, our paved roads, obviously, score 75 or above. So that's a good point that we have. Speaking with those folks, that they were very pleased and very impressed by the maintenance and how we maintain our roads. So the LMIG contract and resurfacing contract has been going well. We are looking to expand some things and how we address some things in the future, moving forward with our 26 LMIG and forward. But right now, I'd say our LMIG contract and resurfacing contracts are a great success and benefit to the citizens of Glenn County.
Yes, and thank you, Adam. And it could be argued that our most valuable asset as a county is our road network. If you had to replace it all at once, it's definitely going to be the most expensive asset to manage.
How many miles of road are there in Glenn County? I mean, I know it's
that's a good question. I have that answer, but you just stumped me. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it's. I better be careful because I'm being recorded.
It's close to 300 lane miles.
I won't hold you to it.
It's close to 300 lane miles of roadway. And the PCI score that Adam was referring to, that most are at 75, that's on a scale of 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And we will have a future presentation to the board to present the findings of that pavement condition study, along with some suggestions and recommendations for how we proceed in future years.
And I will just mention that in Tier 2, we've also got another $8 million set aside for this continued work.
That's correct.
I get questions, how come we don't fix Altama? The part of Altama they're talking about belongs to the city.
Yeah. And the city does currently, they will be addressing that part of their project, Altama, this coming up year. I think there have been some delays in that project, but, College Park, part of our work on Altama, the city does have plans and in contract, I believe, with already secured with a contract to address the resurfacing along Altama.
If you go from L Street all the way out, it's just need good shocks.
Yes, sir.
One thing just to mention, Adam, on that, when it comes to that percentage that you mentioned, if you could, let's capture that. I want to capture that as a performance measure for the next time when we talk about. Let's make sure we get that into our strategic plan, because that's a key component to our goal.
We're also going to bring it into perspective when we do present a work session what different counties in the area, what theirs are, and I think you'd be surprised how well we maintain our roads and our rating is compared to other counties.
Yeah, good. All right, thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right. The next road that we've got, Old Jessup Road improvements.
Absolutely. So Old Jessup Road improvement, through the referendum of SPLOST 22, it decided that it needed to be widened. Obviously, it was a narrow corridor. It's a major corridor, heavily traveled, mainly through local traffic and local citizens. And we did address part of this widening through the use of some of our LMIG resurfacing on our 24 LMIG. We did widen each side or the shoulder, added some paved widening along Old Jessup Road from Crispin Boulevard to Walker Road. So we addressed that portion of the widening through our LMIG, 24 LMIG resurfacing contract. The portion that this contract or this project in specific is addressing is the section between Scranton Scranton and Walker Road. And this project, it was put in design by GWS, has since been put out to bid. We received several bids. The winning bidder was Curb and Gutter Professionals. Glenn County voted at their one of their previous commission meetings. I'm not sure if it was on the 7th of this past month, but they voted to award that project to Curb and Gutter in the amount, if I'm not mistaken. So we've done well with our to residents' point that he was mentioning about the competitiveness of our bids. So we benefited. You know, our original probable cost was going to be a little bit higher, but because of the competitiveness of, you know, I'll tout OpenGov has definitely benefited Glenn County by putting our net further out there across the state of Georgia and the surrounding areas about letting folks know of our projects when they're coming out to bid. So we had a competitive bid, and Old Jessup Road, we're awarding that contract for just over $1.6 million. So that's a good benefit to Glenn County, a little lower than what the expected construction cost was aimed to be. And we have a pre-construction meeting scheduled with Curb and Gutter on Friday of this week, which would be the 21st of November. And once we conduct that pre-construction meeting, we'll schedule a notice to proceed or a start date of construction, and we'll receive a schedule from the contractor at that time. But what this project is going to do, it's not only going to just widen the road and provide a paved shoulder, which is going to, if you drove that section that I'm talking about between Crispin Boulevard and Walker Road, you see how just that little bit of opening up does give you a little bit of that safety as you're driving through. But not only just widening the roadway through here, but we're also installing longitudinal drainage, curb and gutter section through this area, and a pedestrian sidewalk connecting to the existing sidewalk there at Scranton. So this is this is going to bring a lot of benefit to the folks in that area, and it's going to definitely check the box on meeting that requirement for the improvements to this section.
All right, Chairman, I know you drive this one all the time.
It's the just the addition we did on the 18 inches or 24 inches of asphalt has made a big difference. You see the truck pulling a tractor or something. You get something like that on that road before where it was like that. You almost had to dodge on the other side. So thank you, Adam.
Absolutely. It definitely a huge benefit. When you drive through that area and you're tight, your senses are a little tighter. And to Chairman's point, folks tend to drive on that edge instead of getting head on. And when they do that, it just continues to damage the edge of the pavement, continues to build drop-offs such as this, where they beat it out and the water continues to eat away at the road. So this is going to eliminate a lot of maintenance issues. Just widening this road out is going to eliminate a lot of maintenance issues that we deal with, or Public Works deals with, through this section of road.
Adam, when can we expect the construction schedule on that?
So as I mentioned, we have our pre-construction meeting this Friday, the 21st, and I hope to receive a schedule, or at least a preliminary schedule for construction at that meeting.
And then one thing I'd add is, we're starting to see more people bid on our projects. And so, for example, this project had 5 bids. Curb and Gutter, who's done a lot of work for us here in Glenn County, had the winning bid, but it ranged from 1.6 to 2.5 million. And so I was very happy to see Curb and Gutter come in and win this one for us.
It'd be nice to have sidewalk going down farther, but I realize, the way the easement and all is in there, we have to take yard from people, it looks like.
Yes, sir. And there was some property acquisition and such in this part of the project as well, because to your point, the right of way, very limited on the space that we have in that area.
You can see it in that picture where the mailbox is at.
So my only question on this is, so once we get that construction schedule, I think we need to make sure that we publicize this, because there'll be some pain points as far as traffic goes.
Good point, Mr. Fallon. And I didn't know how deep y'all wanted to go in that, but yes, this is a tight area, and any construction on Old Jessup Road, it does slow traffic. So when construction does start, we'll definitely get our public notices out to the public. through Ms. Brittany, and we'll make sure that we try to keep all the information as up to date out to the public once construction starts.
Okay, good.
Be one lane.
During the daytime operations, yes, sir.
Yeah, and I think the more messaging we can get out on that, the better, because there are alternatives for people to not have to.
Yeah, there's other roads.
Yeah, but they're out of the way. But yeah, but they're still. It's gonna be a little painful while we get it done. But once it is done, it'll be well worth it.
That's right. All right. Our next road project is the McKenzie Drive to Prater Lane project.
Absolutely, yeah. McKenzie Drive to Prater Lane project was something that's been in the works for some time. As many folks know, that there are two schools, I believe elementary and a middle school, that's along McKenzie Drive, along with some residential development through there. Before this project, there was only one inlet and outlet through that area, which made, if you've gone through that area through 341 at McKenzie during, school hours, either coming to school or getting off, all the buses and such, and the parents picking up the kids have to come in and out that same area, which can make traffic a huge issue at that intersection and along McKenzie Drive. And plus, not to mention, the issues for safety during the need of evacuation or anything like that. So this project, the Prater Lane, which also adjoined 341, a little further north down the road from on 341 from McKenzie. What this project did was connected McKenzie Drive into Prater Lane, widening the road section out as you see through that curve section there. So definitely, we went under construction last year. We went under construction this year, I should say. We were able to open up the road to the school traffic on November 6th. That was one of our goals, was trying to get that to where the school traffic could be able to utilize that back exit for their buses, which they have been doing. Construction is continuing on the project as we speak. They're putting the final topping on the roadway this week. They're as of the date, are actually installing some of the concrete islands there at the intersection of 341 and the Prater Lane there, which will now be McKenzie. And once that's completed, they'll finish the little bit of, they've got to put the topping on the decel lane. So one part of what this project did, it did impact the GDOT right away there, because we did add a decel or a turn lane for those folks headed from north to south that want to turn, making them a safe turn, somewhere to get out of the main flow of traffic on 341 to turn right onto McKenzie. And so that'll be the last section that'll be paved. This project also added the sidewalk connectivity from Highway 341 all the way to the existing sidewalk there at Covington Point. And we also did with this project go in conjunction with a memorandum of agreement and understanding with Joint Water and Sewer, and we was able to provide to upgrade, or actually to provide water, a new water main to tie into the existing one that's along the Prater Lane, along McKenzie Lane. And what that existing new 12-inch water main is going to do is it's going to provide services to any future development. So that was a huge win to be able to get that accomplished during the construction of this project. But we anticipate substantial completion being at the end of this week or the beginning of the next week, once all the final topping is installed and temporary striping is in.
It's really close. I looked at it Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Long time coming on this.
This was one of the ones that I saw, and back in 21 is when we started this one.
Yes, sir.
And then no fault to the county, but after we got in there, we found wetlands, and we know what happens when you got to deal with
yes, sir.
Corps of Engineers. So, great improvement.
I just want to go through the funding on this. So, Michael, will you just pull up that? I think there was one reference to it. Jason, what was the referendum amount on this?
900,000, I believe, sir. Let's take a look. 990.
990. Okay. Just want to point out. So, if you look at that funding note up at the top, and that's what's on the website, it shows that we took the funding amount that we had from SPLOST on the referendum, but then we also used some additional LMIG and some sidewalk money, right?
This project developed more, so when the referendum was put together and the scope of the project, that scope compared to the final scope changed. So going through GDOT review, GDOT asked for additional things to be added, such as a sell lanes, there's a cost that comes with that, so this project was more, there was a sidewalk, we funded that out of the main sidewalk fund balance. Some of the additional resurfacing, we funded out of resurfacing funds, and then we got the 990 for the actual project.
All right, very good. Go
Yes,
ahead
sir.
on this one.
All right. So now we'll change gears. We'll talk about sidewalks. All right, and the first sidewalk we've got is on the island. It's the Beachview Drive sidewalk.
Absolutely. You want to go ahead?
Yes.
Absolutely. The Beachview Drive sidewalk. This is a important improvement there to that area. If you're familiar with Beachview Drive, between kind of like the village area where the lighthouse is, and taking Beachview toward Demery and Ocean Road intersection, there's a lot of pedestrian traffic that they have nowhere to go as of now. They most of them either bicycle or walk in the lane, which obviously is dangerous, and we want to be able to get the folks, pedestrians, off of the roadway. So what this project does, as you see from the roll plot here, is it provides a 5-foot sidewalk running down the south side of Beachview Drive. It does have a mid-block crossing near Oglethorpe, and we'll cross Oglethorpe, and then we'll continue on the north side or the west side, if you would, of Demery, to where we come to that intersection of Demery and Ocean, and we also provide a protected crossing there across Ocean, connecting to the sidewalk on the north side. So this project currently is in design. Glenn County staff has received the 90% design plans. We have provided comments and markups for those plans and have provided those back to the design contractor or the design firm, and we are awaiting the 100% plans. Once those comments are addressed. So we're very close with this project to being able to go out to bid and have a final design.
That is a very dangerous curve right there.
Yes, sir.
Bikes are walking around that corner, and people coming down Demery and across onto Beachview. That's I'm glad to see that the crosswalk will slow people down as well.
Yes, sir.
The next sidewalk is also a much needed sidewalk on a dangerous road. It's Arnold Road. We've had some challenges with this one.
Yeah, absolutely. So Arnold sidewalk, if you're familiar at all, if you've been to the island at all, you know that Arnold Road is heavily traveled by pedestrian traffic. It is the main cut through between Ocean and Demery Road. A lot of folks that visit this area that's not even from here, their GPS, when they're headed to the beach, that's the way their GPS is going to take them right down Arnold Road. So currently there's no place for them to walk. They have to get in the middle of the road. Arnold Road is a tight corridor as it is, with residential and commercial businesses on it. So this was an in-house design. Glenn County engineering staff designed this sidewalk in-house. For part of the sidewalk, we, as seen in the markup up there, we are on the south side of Arnold Road, and then we mid-block near the Georgia Power there, we swap over to the north side. But it's currently, like I said, it was 100% designed. We had to do some property acquisitions, so we are currently working through. We acquired GWS to work through some of these property acquisitions for us. We've been successful in some, and they're continuing to work through the remainder ones that need to be got. So we're currently working through property acquisitions and environmental permitting. So, but we hope to have those finished up here soon.
That's another one with that crosswalk halfway down the street. That's going to slow traffic down as well.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this is another dangerous road.
And there were some challenges on the design there because, as you all know, the right of way here was very tight. So, we're going with a 5-foot wide sidewalk. A 4-foot wide sidewalk, narrow as we can here, to meet the need of the pedestrian traffic.
When we first came up with this one, we looked at just having it one lane going one way. So you'd have more access to sidewalk, but I forget, was it the King and Prince or the businesses back along
and the residents too? There were some residents that were on Beach Street were concern that people start using their road as a cut through. So
Yeah.
Yes.
a lot of opposition to that one. Yeah. Okay. No, this will long time needed again.
Thank you, Adam.
Yes, sir.
All right, the next one is mine. It's that Fort Frederica sidewalk. This is a sidewalk that, as we get into it, we're finding that we've got more permits than probably any other sidewalk because it is on a historic site. It's going through a government property, and so we've got to work with our partners over at the Park Service. And unfortunately, they've been out due to the shutdown, but they'll be coming back. We're breaking this project up into a couple different pieces. We're going to do a permitting piece first, and so we're going to contract with Longleaf Consulting to identify all the different permits that we need, cultural permits, wetland permits, and then after that, we will take the information we have into a design phase for design, and then once we've got that design, we'll go into construction. So right now, we've just awarded this to Longleaf Consulting. They were the low bid, and we look to get started on that right away.
Question, please.
Sure.
One question in regards to, what's the forecasted start on this for construction?
That's a great question, sir. But
I understand we got permitting to go, but
Right.
when you look at put your binoculars on, how far out are you estimating?
I would say at least a year.
Thank you.
And we moved this one up. This one was scheduled later in Tier 2, but we a lot of concern out there for the kids out there for the most part.
That's right.
Yep. So we moved it up. So we'll hopefully get this one started sooner rather than later.
Right. And like I said, we've got Longleaf on to start with the permitting process, and we'll push them. All right. So that wraps up our sidewalk. And now we'll go to mainland sidewalks and Scranton Road, Scranton Connector sidewalk.
Absolutely. So Scranton Connector sidewalk was as far as the master plan of continuing to get for pedestrian connectivity from residential to places of business. This Scranton Connector was put out, designed by TR Long, won the contract for the RFP. Very quickly did a good job on design. Things went very rapidly on the design with them. But the sidewalk here is designed to be able to connect from about Town Square down Scranton Connector and bringing it up to the intersection of Altama Avenue and then moving along Altama Avenue, connecting with the existing sidewalks with the Altama Connector, I apologize. Connecting it to the existing sidewalk improvements that was done on our previous job, project Altama Connector. So this project is going to, as I mentioned, we put it out to bid, and this is one of those deals where we definitely benefited from the competitiveness, the OpenGov that's getting our further reach out there. The project came in under what our in-house original opinion of probable cost was going to be. The project, we received several bids from this. It was awarded to Curb and Gutter Professionals. Glenn County Board of Commissioners had voted to award this project to Curb and Gutter Professionals, and we also Friday the 21st, which is the Friday of this week here, we have a pre-construction meeting planned with Curb and Gutter, and at that meeting we'll discuss the notice to proceed and a preliminary schedule for construction. So we'll see this going on to construction very soon, and this will be a great improvement through that area, giving folks along Scranton a place to connect there to Altama Connector. And I'll say this too, so as part of this project is it's improving a very the existing crossing there at Altama Avenue with the signals there. So we're benefiting from this. So there's some old signals there they're not quite to par. They're not quite to par. And so as part of this project, we are upgrading all the pedestrian signals on throughout that entire intersection there. So that'd be a great benefit to everybody on both ends coming and going.
no questions, we'll go to the last sidewalk we've got. It's a new addition. It's the Buckingham Place sidewalk. This was one that Commissioner Sweat had asked us to take a look at, and we were able to get on that pretty quickly.
Absolutely. Buckingham Place sidewalk was one of those ones where we benefited from an in-house design, was able to save the county taxpayer funds through the benefit. It's a very straightforward project coming from Buckingham Terrace, going toward Altama Avenue, connecting to the existing sidewalk there. Currently, there's no sidewalk or no place for the folks at Buckingham Terrace or anyone in that area to safely walk a pedestrian path. And this is going to provide a 6-foot wide sidewalk path from Buckingham Terrace up and connecting to the existing one. It was in-house design, as I mentioned. It went out to bid. And the bid opened up on November the 5th. We received, to residents' point again, we received 10 bids. This is a small project. We received 10 competitive bids on this project, and this project, the low bid being just over $68,000, which was under the opinion and probable costs from our engineering staff. So we definitely here we are. We are benefiting from the competitiveness that we are seeing in recent times from our bids coming in, so as I said, the low bid was $68,000, just over, and Glenn County staff is currently reviewing that bid and make recommendations to go before the next Finance Committee for award.
Yeah, this is one that Commissioner Sweat asked for a couple of times, and I'll tell you, it's a small sidewalk, but it makes a big impact for those people that live there to be able to get out to Altama.
Yes, sir.
A lot of them do walk.
Yes, sir.
All right. And with that, that concludes our sidewalk conversation, and now the next thing we've got is the shoreline protection, which is one of our bigger, most impactful projects.
Jason, let's just going back to just for reference. So, when we did these referendum, the mainland sidewalk amount was 5.28 million, and the same time as island sidewalk amount was 1.695, and so then we have, I think, about 1.75 in tier 2 for the mainland, and 1 million additional for the island. So we're stretching this money out as much as we can, particularly on the island. But there is we're able to use that to help with some of the other projects where we have to put that sidewalk money to use. So it's good flexibility for us to be able to, like I said, make some pretty big impact in some of these areas, not only for access but for safety as well. So I think overall the team has done a good job, really a great job of trying to maximize what we had available for that sidewalk money. So good job.
Thank you.
And why don't we take a quick 5-10 minute break before we go on to the next one, and then is that all right, Adam?
10-4, absolutely, yes, sir.
All right, thank you. Welcome back. All right, carry on there, Adam.
So shoreline protection plan implementation.
Absolutely. So the shoreline protection plan implementation, this is phase 2. Phase 1, and the point of this project, as it was done in phase 1 back in 2019 and 2020, was to shore up the existing shore armament, as folks, local folks know them as the Johnson Rocks, that was placed in, I believe, after Hurricane Dora, to help protect the existing shoreline there from erosion, from surf and the waves and the surf during storms and such. But through the years, that armament and those Johnson Rocks has kind of taken a toll. The weather, the storms, the nor'easters, and the hurricanes that we've had in recent time have taken a toll. So phase 1 of that project was a grant-funded project with FEMA and GEMA, addressed the areas abutting or at the ends of county right-of-way properties. So that was phase 1. Phase 1 was completed. And phase 2, the purpose of phase 2 was to address the areas outside of the end of the roadways and the county-owned properties there, properties that were adjacent or abutting or adjoining to private property. So this project was put out to bid. This project was put out to bid, and design was completed earlier this year. Permitting, which was a huge part of it, permitting has already been obtained through the Army Corps of Engineers and Georgia Department of Resources, Coastal Resource Division. So we have our permits. The contract for construction was put out to bid. We received several bids, and have awarded this project to the lowest responsible bidder. So this project actually came in under what we estimated. There again, another benefit of the competitiveness of having OpenGov, getting that reach out to the contractors in the area, and we did benefit that they are current work or work that had just started along Jekyll Island that have brought that type of skilled contractors to this area, so they were able to join on to this project. So the contract documents have been put out for contract execution. We should receive those back from the contractor on the 21st, which will be Friday. We're going to go ahead and schedule a pre-construction meeting with the contractor as soon as possible, because time is of the essence here. Obviously, all the work, as you can see here, through the areas highlighted, is going to have to be done on the seaward side. So it's going to have to be done during the times of low tide. So it has to be done outside of the turtle nesting season. So, and this project also does have a sunset on it as far as the grant provisions, which would be at the end of March of 2026. So we will go to work as soon as possible, get the contractor out there, have a pre-construction meeting scheduled, and get to work out there immediately. So what the public begin to see once we get that pre-construction meeting and we get a tentative schedule from the contractor and he's ready, boots on the ground, ready to go, we'll put all the public notices out of where he's starting at, where he's going to begin his work at, and the folks will be able to see that work taking place on the beach, on the shoreline. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of questions once that work does start to take place, because anytime you see heavy equipment, pieces of machinery out there on the beach, you're going to have a lot of questions. So we'll definitely use Miss Brittany to our benefit, and keeping the public notified and aware of what's going on. But this will be a huge benefit to the areas that were deemed necessary to need this improvement, to bring the rock up to the original design height. And that was the point, that we weren't adding additional rock where there were no rock. But the point of this project was to shore up and maintain the existing rock that's there and bring it back up to its original design height and template. And that's what this project will finish out doing.
So, Adam, did we get some updates on cost as well?
You
seem to think, what's the latest that we had? It's like 3. Can you scroll up?
Yeah, so the funding phase of it, there's a SPLOST component, and then there's also a grant component. And so our match is 27%. So we're not going to spend what we have allocated for the SPLOST funds, which was $2 million. We'll spend probably about $600,000 of that.
Yeah, the construction part of it came well under what we had anticipated, and there again a benefit to Glenn County and the taxpayers.
All right, very good. It's good news. All right, good.
All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. We decided on this one that we would also talk about some capital projects that we've been working hard to complete. And we would just attach that to our SPLOST QER presentation. We'll probably continue to do this in future QERs. And so the first project that we're going to talk about is the Juvenile Justice Center. I think this is a good example of knowing what our budget is and striving to meet that budget. So we started this project a couple years ago. It was a recognized need that we needed to have a juvenile justice facility. The current building that's being used over on Gloucester is an outdated building, and it's dilapidated. We needed a change, and so it was determined that we would build this juvenile justice center. That being said, we had a design team that designed the building, and what we found was we were not meeting the budget, and so we decided to keep pushing, and now we decided to go a new route. We were going to go design build. Just recently, we've held interviews, and those interviews have we got a finalist from that, and we'll take that to the board. And as soon as we get that contract awarded, the design build firm, we've got the way that works is there's going to be a contractor, a building contractor, and a designer team working together from the start to design this project and then build it. And it will be within budget. That's one of the things that we've been tasked with, is stay within budget. And so we have no options here. We got to do it.
You want to talk a little bit about some? So I know we brought on the project management firm, which helped greatly. Probably should have done it earlier on. But as far as I know, originally we talked about some black box space, I believe was the term. Is it still going to be? There's still going to be sections that are going to be finished afterwards, based on additional need, or is it? What are we looking like as far as?
So that was the original plan, was to have black box space. I'm not sure if that's going to be the route that we go this time or not. We just need to look to see what can we build with the money. With prices being what they are, maybe we can afford to build it out right now.
Okay.
So we'll know more as we get into design.
Could you talk about a couple of key milestones as when you expect the design to be advanced enough to begin purchase of major components, and then groundbreaking, and then the potential finish?
Typically on a design, it might take about 9 months, and so I would expect about halfway through we'll start to understand what that looks like. But 9 months for the design, and then after that we would go into the construction. As far as wood components, we really have to look at what the budget is and what we can afford. So I don't know just yet, Commissioner.
Okay, and then the last milestone would be our expected completion. Is that 18, 24 months?
That would be about 18 months.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, big year. But we'll have more hopefully soon.
Right.
Once
As
the
we get
awards,
into it,
once the awards now.
we'll get a schedule.
Okay.
And we'll
Yeah.
have all that information posted, and we'll continue to share it.
Okay. All right. Next, Jason.
All right. So the next project is our Coast Guard Beach renovation project. As you know, we put this project out to bid. We received a bid of over $10 million, which definitely exceeded our budget. We went back to the drawing board on this. We broke it into two parts: a Scope A, which was the horizontal work, and a Scope B, which is the vertical work. And so Adam and I have been tag teaming this. He's got the Scope A contractor. Been out there with weekly meetings. You want to talk about that, Adam?
Yeah, absolutely. The notice to proceed on the Scope A was September 2nd, so we made, as you can see from the pictures there, we made great progress. I'd say the vast majority, probably 98% of the clearing and removal of vegetation or trees or such has been done. The building's already been demolished, and the Scope A contractor, as part of their contract, is also tasked with bringing the whole site for the Scope A and Scope B up to the mass grading, bringing it up on grade. So they're continuing to work very diligently and successfully on the timeline that they have. They've made great progress. The park now is closed to any vehicular traffic, but it's still open and will be open to pedestrian traffic throughout the entirety of the project, which is key. So but it will be only to pedestrian traffic. But works continue to move smoothly. As I mentioned, notice received for the Scope A was September 2nd. We anticipate, according to their schedule, being completed with Scope A May of next year, mid-May of next year. That's our anticipated on the schedule provided by the contractor. But this is going to provide a great benefit. A lot of additional parking, and try to handle as much stormwater on site as possible before discharging out into the outfall. So this project is going to be a huge benefit, and once the grading is complete, and I think is that the anticipated timeline to hand over for Scope B, was that not in January? I believe, Rez, is that correct?
Let's talk about what they're contractually required to do. So
okay, gotcha.
I want to under-promise and over-deliver.
Yes, sir.
I think contractually they're required to complete it by end of March of 26.
Okay, yes, sir. 10-4, but yes, so continuing to move successfully along with Scope A, and then once the building pad and that Scope B area is completely on grade, we'll get the Scope B contractor in, and that's when you'll start seeing the vertical work take place. And I'll turn that back over.
One of the most fascinating things for me about this is just watching the dump trucks come in, bringing dirt, and watching them build that pad. And I don't know if you have it offhand, but it was 180 truckloads of dirt or more.
Yeah, or more. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah.
That is quite a feat. And that guy he's packing it all day long so we get that pad ready. And so, like Resin said, once we do hand it off to the Scope B contractor, we're estimating to be about 12 months for construction. And so probably looking at about March of 27 for a completion date.
All right, but again, let's make sure we stick to the construction schedule. Yeah, I appreciate the fact that we're going to try and hopefully be able to get it done a lot sooner, and particularly be ready for the season in 2027.
Yeah, and so Commissioner Duncan, to your point, sir, once we have the design done and permitting done, then it's a lot easier to forecast how long the construction will be. It's
understood.
Getting there.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
I just want to take advantage of having our SMEs here to kind of talk through one of the articles that we saw in the AJC that came out that had a lot of inaccuracies on this project. So is there any specifics that you guys want to highlight that, there was a lot of discussion on some of it. I hate to throw this out there to you now, but and I know we're looking to put a message back to get some factual data out, but is there anything you want to highlight on this, Dan?
Yeah, and I'd like Resident to weigh in. I think the number one issue that was in the article that we need to highlight is that we are not destroying, destructing, or bulldozing any of the dunes at that location. That is that's false, and that was a false statement. Statutorily, we are not permitted or allowed to enter those dunes or bulldoze them. So obviously, we're not doing that.
Yeah, if you go out there and you look at the fence, the silk fence that's put up, so our limits of disturbance is 2 feet landward of the toe of the dune. So we are not impacting any dunes in any way.
And the other big thing too, and what we want to make sure that our state legislature knows and DNR knows, is that we're meeting all the requirements of the grant as well. And so there was a lot of comments in there that we were not going to meet the requirements of the grant, or we were essentially getting around some of those, but that is absolutely not the case. And so we'll come up with a better fact sheet essentially on everything that we were able to complete on this project. So appreciate that, guys. All right, what's next?
And so for the next capital project that we'll talk about is one that I know the whole community sees. It's that College Park project. And so Adam will discuss that with us.
Absolutely. College Park Phase 1, Phase 2, both going on concurrent with one another. Two separate contract projects. And College Park was originally broke into 4 phases. Due to funding, we were able to address Phase 1 and Phase 2. Excuse me, I apologize for that. But as you can see from the map that's on the overhead here, you can see that the Phase 1 impacts or improvements are along the outfall, which is along Spur 25 from Cypress Mill Creek, which is south toward 17. So that those improvements will include, and if you've been along Spur 25, you'll see that the ditch has been widening out and deepened along Spur 25 to a 26-foot flat bottom ditch. We've cut that depth down by about, on average, additional 4 to 5 foot additional depth. Okay, so that's going to provide a lot of additional storage through that area. But that outfall did impact and intersect Cypress Mill Road or Highway 303 and Altama Avenue there at Spur 25. So with those improvements, the public has definitely seen in the past months the impacts along 303. We installed a triple barrel 10x4 box culvert that is 30 feet of structure, or 30 plus feet of structure up underneath Cypress Mill Road. That was a daunting of a task. We have since got that installed and it's completely across, and traffic has been established back to pre-construction pattern, and the contractor has now moved to Altama Avenue where he's continuing to install the double barrel 7x4, which is at the upper head of that outfall. With those improvements, and I'll say this, between the Phase 1 and Phase 2 improvements, as you've seen on the map above, where Phase 2 is primarily wholly within the College Park neighborhood. The adjoining of those two systems previously in the old drainage profile, the water out of the College Park area and out of the College Park drainage basin area went under a single box culvert up under Spur 25 and had to go, a long way before its total outfall. I'm talking about going under a lot of roads and crossings, narrow ditches. This gives the project in this improvement here in College Park Phase 1 and 2 gives it an immediate outflow to Cypress Mill Creek. And we have seen the improvement in the College Park neighborhood. I'd say those water levels that are currently in the College Park neighborhood now are probably low as they've ever been, if ever. So we've seen the immediate improvement and benefit already from this project, even though it's not completely completed. So the contractor is working along the southbound lanes of Altama Avenue. Folks have noticed the additional the traffic shift in that area, and we anticipate being completed in that area by the end of the year with that traffic shift and having all that structure installed and that infrastructure installed. For Phase 2, the project, as I mentioned, focused entirely on the improvements within College Park neighborhood, and that contract is continuing to move smoothly. As part of that project has been the installation of some concrete channelized ditches, or paved ditches, and those have been a huge benefit into that area, widening that existing ditch along the backbone of those properties along that easement to an 8-foot bottom ditch. And this is going to assist the city, because I failed to mention, this is a joint effort between the county and the city that we're working this together with College Park Phase 1 and 2. But it's going to be a huge benefit to the maintenance of those ditches, as Danny no doubt could tell you that having a concrete channelized ditch keeps from undercutting. It cuts down on the vegetation growth in that area. It just makes those easier to clean out and maintain, which keeps water moving effectively and efficiently as it's intended to. But within the College Park neighborhood, they've been the installation of a 6x4 box culvert. Some large double barrel arch pipes have continued to be installed. So we anticipate this project also to be completed, or to be substantially completed by January of next year. So the project is going to continue to move forward, and we've already seen the great benefits to the surrounding areas of this project. But as I mentioned, this is Phase 1 and Phase 2, and we are continuing to seek funding for Phase 3 and 4.
This is a massive project. just look out there and see it. We had a call the other day, and I jumped on with our county engineer, Jason Harmon, just with DCA. So I know, Commissioner, you work with DCA. Just thank them for really giving us the opportunity and paying attention and helping us partner with this and the city, because this is one of those projects that these hopefully will solve a lot of problems for those people that have been flooded for many, many years out there in the College Park area.
Well, I'll pass your comments, Bill, back to Commissioner Nunn. I'll see him tomorrow in a meeting in Savannah. So thank you for sharing that.
Jason, or Michael, can you go back to the map that showed the line work on it? Right there. So as Jason mentioned, the water previously went along that dotted light blue line, traveled north for quite a ways, and then turned east into the marsh. I think it's worth pointing out that that water is now going to, as obviously is going to travel parallel to the spur on where the new canal is in the red. But there's a lot of water from the west that travels through that same corridor, the light blue dotted line. There's going to be an improvement to the west and to the north as well, because you're going to have less water in that system, which will allow all that water to move through a lot faster. So this project will benefit far outside of the confines of College Park.
Correct.
Yes. This is a great project for the county, and hopefully we can look at some more of these moving forward.
And the other benefit too is this primarily was all grant money in different fashion, and so we're still moving forward with the next phases as well. And hopefully we'll be able to our grant team. It's just being able to obtain those resources so that we get some assistance on this is huge for us.
Yes, sir. All right. And so wrapping it up today, we'd like to just take a few moments and talk about the SPLOST 2016 projects. When we came in, there were a number of these that had not been completed that needed to be worked on, and so we jumped on those. The first was that we'll speak about today is Dungeness Drive, and Adam, you want to talk about that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Dungeness Drive, as many on up here know, was a project that was long in the making, much needed to provide some additional outflow from Southport Parkway, which there's several schools along Southport Parkway, a lot of residential build up in neighborhoods in that area, and it was just very limited for the school traffic and such, having to go to non-protected signals to be able to get out. But what this done is it cut through, coming through Southport Parkway and connecting there to the end of Dungeness Drive, and then heading to a signalized protected intersection, which vastly improves the traffic flow in that area instead of having to wait to pull out, take a chance, and get out along 17 ahead of somebody coming, as Reggie mentioned, 45, 50 mile an hour down the road. So this project was able, we were thankfully able to open this project, and it was substantially completed ahead of the first day of school, or on the first day of school. So on the first day of school, on August the 6th, I believe it was, we got to see the very immediate impacts that the benefit of this road had to the folks that use that road every day. And if you look at the comments, and if you put your ear to the ground, you can hear the benefits of those folks who live in that area. That even some folks that work here that live in that area, the benefit of being able to take that direct route down Dungeness. It was successful. It was built on time, and it was built on budget. So it was a success all across the board.
It was well needed.
When I say on time and on
Yeah,
budget, I'm making reference to the construction budget. Yes, sir.
Yeah,
Yes, sir. To the construction.
Long time coming, but yeah, you're right.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Any questions on that one? All right. The next project was one that I actually went out and got to sit with Adam on, that Chapel crossing drainage. That was monumental.
Yes, sir. So the big benefit of this project is continuing to provide drainage contingency to the area of Country Club, Fairway Oaks, that area. This project also not only with improving the drainage, it did bring connectivity with the existing sidewalk that was along Chapel Crossing Road that had ended and terminated at Fairway Oaks, just in the middle of nowhere, and it connected it to the shopping centers there across from Fletsy. It also added upgraded and added additional protected crossing there at Chapel Crossing for the folks coming out of coming out of Fletsy, pedestrian traffic from that side, giving them protected signal across. But the main benefit of this project is it gives a contingency to the water. So in times past, when those ditches would flood on the adjacent on the backside of Fairway Oaks along Country Club, that completely outfall there down. It went down Southtown 17 and then crossed under 17. But what this does now, instead of flooding, once those in a huge event, instead of flooding, it provides a outlet for that system, and we work with Fletsy to be able to improve the drainage along their area. We kind of widened out the ditch, the outfall ditch along Fletsy there, headed up back to the backside of 17. That's going to give it more capacity. So only on the events of a huge event does this contingency allow that water to come into the Fletsy ditch. But what it does is it gives, instead of flooding a home, we can fill a ditch that has been, we've given it that stormwater runoff somewhere to go instead of in somebody's backyard or in their house. So this project was substantially complete on August the 15th. It was construction-wise, I'll say this again, construction was completed on time and on budget.
And then the next one that I just feel like really turned out well was that Canal Road widening. That's pretty.
That was a nice improvement, but it has turned into a super speedway. And I know the sheriff and I think the county both have been working it, but 35 miles an hour through there, I've been out there and I see them going 60. But no, the improvement was well needed.
Yes, sir, and as Jason mentioned, this was a holdover from the 2016 SPLOST and the plans when we inherited this. And I say we, when the current engineering staff inherited this project, the plans had already been made up. We put this project out to bid competitively. We received a bid. It was awarded. Board of Commissioners awarded this project, and it definitely, the benefit of this project is to continue to enhance the movement of commerce and people and travel and the public, up and down a major corridor. Obviously, tying into the phase 2 of this area, which was the roundabout area, but just continue to increase the flow. This is one of the major corridors, for folks that are, maybe during an evacuation need to come towards Spur 25, to a state route. That the heavily Harry Driggers area, it just gives a lot of volume, several lanes for traffic to get into. But this project was overdue. If you looked on to achieve it, it was always off track because we had missed the original timeline. But as far as the construction budget, once this project was awarded for construction, we were able to complete this project on the construction budget. And so this is completed as of April the 17th of this year. So it's been a great improvement. It not only provided the widening of the lanes, but it provided pedestrian connectivity, now connecting to the new roundabout, connecting all the way to Harry Driggers, as Tony mentioned in one of his presentations, that the amount of pedestrian traffic that uses Harry Driggers, that sidewalk, now they have full connectivity all the way down to the shopping centers, and hope for the continual development and growth of that area as well.
That's good. I didn't realize that. That's fantastic. Good. All right.
And with that, we've got 3 off our plate. The last project, it's a drainage project, South Palm and Hornet. It's a project that we've got designed. It's a holdout from 2016, but we are still trying to identify funding for it. We're working with Monica now up in our grants to identify additional funding to help us get this thing going. So once we've got that this will be the project that we work on, and once this is complete, 2016 will be done.
All right, this is another one where our federal legislators had on their radar, and we actually had it in the draft 2026 budget, but it didn't make it. So we'll keep going back to the drawing board. I do think at some point though that once we get past Tier 2 with SPLOST, we might have some additional SPLOST revenue that we can put towards this as well. But we'll continue to work and see what we can find as far as grants go or federal appropriations for this.
We are in the grant process right now. We've applied for the H&GP grant. We feel good about it, so hopefully here in the next 6 to 12 months we'll get some results from that application.
All right, good. And just remind me what do we wind up as far as the design goes? Because I know this one was probably under or over scoped at one point.
So right now our cost estimates are around $6 million, and we've got 2.4 to apply. So we've applied for that grant. There is a local match that would be covered with our SPLOST funding, but it would completely fund the project.
Okay, good. Another one that's these people need that relief out there. So Adam, just before I turn over to the commissioners, and when we open it up, if anybody has any additional comments, but I'll tell you, if you just drive around the county and look at all the projects that are going on, it's pretty amazing. And so a lot of it, we have the funding thanks to our SPLOST revenues. As Resin mentioned, I think we're working with the chamber to determine now with Buc-ee's open how much actually is resident versus non-resident, and I think that number is going to be closer to 50-50 or even maybe even higher on the non-resident side when it comes to sales tax. The other thing is these are not wants, these are needs. Everything I see out there in all these projects, these are things that the county needs, and it's something that the county just a lot of infrastructure making up that we need to do. Traffic safety maintenance, all drainage, everything else that we have across the board is just things that are good for the residents of Glenn County and long overdue. But I will tell you that we only have so many people that manage these projects, so you guys are doing a fantastic job of overseeing all these projects, making sure that the construction schedules stay on time, stay on cost as well, and really appreciate all the work that you and your team are doing on this.
Yes, sir. Engineering services is a great team, and we're glad to be a part of it.
If I may, I do congratulate you, but it goes deeper than that, Bill. Resden, Michael, I mean, it's a team effort, and I think we're on task. We're doing
Absolutely.
We're probably doing more than's been done in a long time. So these quarterly reviews, if the public's interested, can see it. I mean, it's. You put a sign up saying 1 cent paid for this, but that's, this just lays it all out. And to me, I want to congratulate the whole staff, everyone. I mean, it's a team effort. But I agree with you. There's a lot of things that are being done that should have been done in the past that are being done now. I'm done. Your turn.
Well, I'll echo what the what our chairman said is that congrats on good work and good construction work and getting many of these projects on time and within or under budget. So kudos to the team for making that happen. And more importantly, what this does is it meets the commitment that our residents, our taxpayers have made. They've made a commitment to fund these projects, and you're meeting the commitment to achieve the finished product for them. So thank you very much.
All right. Any public comment? We did have somebody from the public here before who left and was complimentary of the process. Hadn't been here before and was impressed with the information sharing, but also the process that we put in place. And so I know it's a tough one to prepare for. So all of you have prepared for this, and really it takes a while to do this, but it helps having the website and all of the details just populated as we have. It is work on your end to enter all the information. So we appreciate all that. But like my friends at FLETC used to call it Hell Week, and so because it was a week long there when we did this. But just that this process I think fits SPLOST. And when we were talking about some of the concerns that the citizens had about transparency in years past, I don't think that argument can be made now. So nice job, and appreciate all the work that was done on this. So thank you.
Absolutely.